Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a brand new video. Happy New Year's to all of you guys and thank you for the support on the previous year. Today we have a pretty awesome video. It's going to be a three-part series where we're going to be competing a $250 team versus a $2,500 team. Apologies for not uploading over the last couple of days. I've had a horrible cold and my throat has just not been great, so I just have not been able to put any content out at all. And I've barely been able to speak. So the idea of this mini series, guys, is we're going to put a cheap $250 Premier League team against a more expensive $2,500 Premier League team, and over the space of a month, which is about 7 game weeks, we're going to see which team can return the best investment, taking into factor the rewards, the boxes received, and then also the sales after the 1 month period. So you guys will see as we go through, some of the players do play in the Champions League. We are not going to factor in those cards, as obviously the cheaper players often don't play in the Champions League, and that obviously factors into their price. Both of the teams that we have built consist of 6 players. They're both going to start in Division 2 in the Rare Premier League, and if any of the players get injured or if I need some players to play in a game week, we'll go ahead and buy an expensive player if we need one for the expensive team, or we'll buy a cheap one if we need one to replace a cheap player, and that will get factored into the cost at the end of the series. As I briefly mentioned, this is going to be a 3-part series, so the first episode you're seeing today is after 2 game weeks that have already gone. The second episode will be halfway through, and that will be after even another 2 or 3 games, and then the final one will be after another 2 games, when we will also be selling the team and seeing how much return we can get from the cost that we have originally paid. So before we go into the players, you guys are going to see them as we go, but I'm going to be revealing 7 of the players. Reason being is the expensive players, there wasn't many on the market, but at the time, Sorare had quite a few auctions listed for the Neon Christmas cards, so I'm hoping that we can get some of the special edition cards, just so when it comes to it at the end of the series, hopefully we may be able to sell them for more. The cards I am revealing are going to be the expensive cards. Obviously, the cheaper ones we mainly purchase off of the secondary market, so off of other people selling them, and we really would like to get at least one. There's one of these cards that are here that are part of the cheap team, but as you guys can see so far, Van Dijk and Martinez will be part of the team. The next one we're going to open up, and fingers crossed would be really cool if we could get a special edition, is the Trent Alexander-Arnold, because we did actually manage to pick up his kit number, so his number 66, and we managed to pick up version 66. Anthony Gordon is the next one. We'll go more in depth as to how much these players cost, and also, you know, how I purchased them a bit later on. But once we have opened up all of these, I'm just hoping, fingers crossed, we can get one special card. Into the next one, so this is the first of our cheap players. We did pick up Madueke. I was surprised by how much he costs, but with Chelsea's squad, there's so much depth. The wingers have a lot of rotation, and recently he was had a disciplinary from the manager where they didn't let him play just due to strikes within the club. Salah is the biggest card that we've picked up. If we could get a special edition, Neon edition Salah, that would look absolutely awesome, especially when we put him in the lineups each week. And we don't get a special card, and then into the final one, we have Moyes Caicedo. Can we get one of the Chelsea boys as a special card? I'm quite disappointed we didn't get at least one, but you know, there's only a 10% chance, so we were trying our luck. Can we get one for Caicedo? And we do manage to get one in the last one, so we get a special edition Caicedo, which looks absolutely sick. We are not complaining about that at all. Let's get into the teams and how much they cost. So starting off with the cheap team, this is a $250 team. It does actually cost slightly more, as you will see. We picked up Matt Sells as the goalkeeper from Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest have been smashing it recently. They get quite a few clean sheets. And as you'll see, I managed to pair him with Nikola Milenkovic, who is also an absolute smasher of a defender, especially for the price that I picked him up for, which you'll see later, because unfortunately I got him in a trade, so you can't quite see. But Matt Sells we managed to pick up for £120.50, which for a starting Premier League keeper that keeps as many clean sheets as he does, and as you'll see from the first 2 game weeks that we've entered him in, and you can see from the score chart down below, is pretty good value considering the amount of rewards you can get. Moving into the defender, as we just mentioned, Milenkovic also has some great scores, keeps a decent amount of clean sheets, is one of the best defenders so far this year, and especially for Nottingham Forest has helped them do as well as they are, because I believe they're second in the table at the moment. Moving into the midfielder, the mistake I've made with both of these teams is I've only picked up one midfielder, but because I only wanted 6 cards, I kind of had to sacrifice that position, and I've gone for a player that I hope starts most games, as you see Christie will. So we picked him up for £20.69, which I thought was a real bargain. Just before I picked him up, he had 2 solid games. I think he got a decisive in both, but in the last 2, he hasn't performed that well. We quickly missed the extra defender that we picked up, which is Kilman for West Ham. West Ham aren't doing so great this year, but Kilman has been producing good scores, even against Liverpool the other day when they conceded 50 goals. Definitely wasn't 50 goals, when they conceded 5 goals. Still managed to put up a good score, and I definitely think he is going to be a solid centre-back choice for us. And then moving into the last 2 cards, we picked up Madueke from Chelsea, who is a bit of a risk, especially as I mentioned earlier, doesn't start all the games. But when he does start, especially against those lower league teams, he definitely can pick up a goal or an assist. I do want to apologise, guys, for my cold. It is going to be annoying throughout the video, but it's there and I can't do anything about it. And then the final forward, we have Evan Nilsson, who picked up a decisive in the last game, picked him up for £34. And for a striker that's 24, Brazilian, and Bournemouth, a team that's also in form at the moment, this felt like quite a good combo to go with Christie. So guys, moving into the expensive players, we're going to start with the goalkeeper. It's a bit of a weird choice, but I didn't have many options. There wasn't many listed on the secondary market, and this was one of the best auctions. Alisson was there, but I didn't want to go boring and just build a full Liverpool team, and also he's about double the price and injury prone. So for that reason, we've gone for Emiliano Martinez, £310. Hasn't kept many clean sheets, has some really good fixtures coming up for Aston Villa. Also has the Champions League games and plays for Argentina. £311. Didn't seem like the greatest price. You know, I've just shown you Sells, who was £120. Doesn't have the Champions League utility, but in terms of score, Nottingham Forest has been keeping a lot more clean sheets. Then into the Liverpool defenders, we're going to start with Virgil van Dijk for £321. Look at those scores. You know, we already have 8% collection bonus, or no, not 8% collection bonus. We have 8% bonus. So 5% for the new season, 2% for the collection bonus with 3 Liverpool players that are all first owned, and then 1% from the games I've played him in so far. He is a very valuable centre-back, one of the best in the Premier League, as you can see from those scores. And then we've paired him up with Trent, who is also absolutely smashing it. There's a lot of controversy at the moment with Trent and his contract with Liverpool. Nonetheless, I still think £332 was an absolute steal, especially when I've been looking at the last sales. He's been going for about £390. And if he goes to Real Madrid, he's just going to be more valuable at the end of that. Then moving into the midfielder option, once again, we only have one midfielder, which is Caicedo. He does get some good scores. He's been on and off for Chelsea recently. He got a decent score in the last game week. We picked him up for £211, which for a midfielder felt like quite a good price. Unfortunately, I wanted to get Foden, but I got outbid. But we do need to pick up another midfielder, so we may have to pick up, a Foden or something a bit extra, just in case, as Caicedo is one of those players that doesn't get the consistent high scores. Does get the challenges, but he's not exactly pushing forward to get decisives. But nonetheless, that's the midfielder. And then into our 2 forwards. The first one we picked up is Anthony Gordon for £164, which I thought was an absolute steal, especially when you see these last couple of scores. He's currently been going about £200. So we should make some good profit on him if he continues his form by the time we sell this team. Newcastle have been smashing it recently. He's young, he creates a lot of chances, and for me, was probably one of my favourite pickups. And then moving into the last purchase, we've picked up the best player in the Premier League at the moment, which is Mohamed Salah. I think there's only been 2 game weeks he hasn't got a decisive that he's played, so it felt like a nailed-on player that I had to go for. £595. Definitely on the more expensive side and makes up more than like 30% of this team's budget. But he's an absolute smasher, and you'll see that from the scores so far. And I do not mind that purchase at all. So guys, you know me, I love to make a spreadsheet, and as you can see, we have put the cost of each player, who they play for, and the current cost of each team in this table in front of you. So the expensive team came in at £1,934.51, which, as I said, equates to nearly $2,500. and it is a pretty nice team. I cannot complain about it at all. Unfortunately, I don't have a goalkeeper and defender that link with each other, which probably would have been ideal given the scenario if you really want to hit the top ends of the rewards. And then you can see the cheap team costing £282, which is obviously equates to about $320. But nonetheless, the video title sounds a lot better when you say 250 versus 2,500, instead of £282 against 1,934. No one wants to click on that video. So those are the players we have. We may pick up another midfielder, especially since Christie got a yellow card the other day. And at the end of the month, we're going to see who can return the best investment. Obviously, the more expensive team has a lot higher chance. The cheaper team also has some players that if they all pop off and there's one of those game weeks where Liverpool, City, Chelsea don't have those smashing scores, then we could see, some absolutely great rewards. And as you can see so far, we've already managed to return one reward from the expensive team, which if you times that by 4, that is literally the price of just the cheap team. And even if you look at the players' value, Martinez, Van Dijk, Arnold, and Salah are all more expensive than the collective of this team combined. So I just wanted to see if you can make a cheap team and actually manage to return some rewards. So guys, we're going to go into the scores so far from the first 2 game weeks. The cheap team, as you can see in the first game week, didn't have a bad score at all. Sales picking up a clean sheet against Tottenham. Milenkovic also getting a great score, obviously with the 10 added points for the clean sheet bonus. Kilman, unfortunately, in a 1-0 win against West Ham. I believe he went off on about the 25th minute, so unfortunately couldn't do anything there. Christie having a solid game against Crystal Palace, and unfortunately Evan Nilsson was on the bench and I captained him. But this team was 56 points away from getting us a box and 101 points from getting us the lower threshold of £48, which unfortunately, we weren't even close. It was 420 points needed and we were quite far away. Going into the more expensive team, we didn't manage to get a reward either. We were 66 points away with this team from the rewards. If you merge these two together, if we had Sales in there, that's 63 points there. And, if you put a different midfielder in of Christie, that's another 20 points. But even just the goalkeeper clean sheet would have put us nearly in that £48. Nonetheless, that is not the series. And Martinez conceded 3 goals against an informed Newcastle. Didn't expect much from that game, but in the other game of Liverpool versus Leicester, Trent managed to get 71 points without a decisive and also without a clean sheet, which is pretty insane. Van Dijk also having a smashing game, picking up 75.7 points. And then Salah, notoriously getting a goal, picking up 85.3 points. And he's probably going to be my captain every week because he's an absolute smasher. Caicedo having an absolute stinker against Fulham. And let's not talk about that result at all because I'm still annoyed that Chelsea have managed to get 1 point from the last 3 games. Moving into the game week that has just gone, once again, Nottingham Forest, not to my surprise at all, picking up a clean sheet. Matt Sells with 71.3 points against Everton. And then Milenkovic, who I went for captain this time because I was worried Evan Nilsson might not start again, only picked up 45.3 points, which is essentially starting 35 points and then the clean sheet bonus of 10 points. And then he managed to get 0.3 points from other AA, which is absolutely shocking and not a great captain choice. We then have the Bournemouth boys of Christie and Evan Nilsson. Christie had a shocking game, picked up a yellow card, unfortunately no decisive against Fulham. But Evan Nilsson did manage to score, which is the reason why we bought him. And then we have Noni Madueke, who only managed to get a score of 41.8 against Ipswich. And as I mentioned before, we are not going to go over that because that is just an absolute painful result to swallow. We were very far away from this with this team from the rewards. Once again, it was about 420, 430 points to get the first cash prize. But we weren't even close to getting a box with this team. Whereas looking at the best team, this was an absolutely delightful result. Unfortunately, Martinez couldn't keep a clean sheet against Brighton. Nonetheless, 42.6 points, conceding 2 goals isn't too bad. Trent with a goal, it was very deflected, but nonetheless, we'll take it. 100 points with the bonus, getting 107. Virgil van Dijk having also, once again, another solid game of picking up 73 points. With the bonus, 78.1. Caicedo against Ipswich, I was really actually hopeful that he would have got a clean, not a clean sheet, and a decisive. especially against Ipswich. I just expected us to win, and I definitely did not expect us to concede 2 goals. But nonetheless, he got quite a few one tackles and Jules won, meaning he got a score of 64.1, which with a yellow card as well is not too bad. And then Mohamed Salah picking up 1 goal and 2 assists with a score of 91.5 points, and with captain 143.7 points. I've got a couple things to say about that. First of all, one of the assists should have been chalked off, which would have put us out the reward, so I can't complain. But there needs to be some consistency with Opta's scoring, because it just wasn't an assist at all with how they scored. It was quite obviously deflected, so I do not know how that has stood at all, because otherwise Lewis Hall's should have stood. But we did indeed manage to pick up £61.34, or as this table says, £63.84. As Sorare data goes off the price of Ethereum, so it changes all the time, but the exact amount was £63.84, which is absolutely solid. Already returning 3% in the first 2 game weeks. We do not mind that at all. We were looking at the points. We were 3 points off of £77. So essentially, with a clean sheet for Martinez, obviously he's miles off. But just, looking at what ifs, another 25, 30 points would have put us in that top 7 place, so for £125. But the best thing about this team is we've been promoted to Division 1, so we're going to be fighting for a lot higher rewards going forwards if we can stay there, and hopefully having the differential of Martinez, who could keep some clean sheets with the favourable fixtures coming up, and Caicedo in there. Hopefully it changes from Liverpool teams, as often the midfielders, you've got Jones, Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai. You don't know which one of the 3 is actually going to start. And then also, they don't often score the highest amount of points. So having a different midfielder definitely might help us out and might be something different to put us higher up the leaderboard. So guys, thank you very much for watching the first episode of $2,500 versus $250 team. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys are looking forward to the next couple of episodes. Let me know down below which team you think is going to do better going forward. I also just wanted to quickly add, if you guys, I've had a couple of people who joined Discord who actually haven't brought any cards. They wanted to get into Sorare, so I thought I would put my link in, a shameless plug. If you guys did want to sign up to Sorare, if you buy 5 cards off of the auction, yourself and myself will get £20 bonus that we can then use to spend on the auctions. There's a QR code there you can scan, otherwise I'll put the link in the description down below. Also, let me know in the comments down below, guys, which league you think I should do this with next. The first one was obviously Premier League. So the options will be Bundesliga, La Liga, or we could do Champion. So drop it down below. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back on Friday with our standard Road to Rare, where we've got quite a few game weeks of rewards that we need to go over. We've got some boxes to open, and we're going to go through the teams for the game week coming up. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.